I got my sparkling water, I got my measuring cup, so let's start with... I'm hoping that the sparkling water will improve the plant growth of this aquarium right here. And right now we're getting somewhere. What's up everybody, welcome to another video. Hope you're doing well. So we are now officially on a mission trying to find cheap CO2 alternatives. So last week I uploaded a video about CO2 tablets. If you didn't watch the video, I'll leave a link on the top of the screen and in the video description. Definitely check that one out. But a little hint, it didn't really go very well. So today we're trying another method. We're going to try CO2 from sparkling water. So over here I have a bottle of very cheap sparkling water. And with this bottle we're going to try to improve our plant growth, see if we can inject some CO2 into the water. So I'm actually super excited about this experiment. I'm hoping that the sparkling water will improve the plant growth of this aquarium right here. Regular viewers of the channel will know that I'm doing a CO2 versus no CO2 experiment. So I've set up two tanks in the exact same way. The one on the right is without CO2 and the one on the left is with CO2. And as you can see, the one on the left is looking really good, really lush and healthy. But the one on the right it's not looking bad, but it's definitely not as healthy as the one on the left. So it would be nice if we could improve the plant growth with some sparkling water in here. So using sparkling water in our aquarium, that's something that I've already found out a very long time ago by reading on some Dutch forums. I knew some people were experimenting with this. I just never really gave it a lot of attention. I kind of thought it was a very silly idea. But then recently I got this book right here. This is one of the first books from Mr. Takashi Amano. And I got this book as a gift from a good friend of mine, Derek. Derek, if you're watching, shout out to you. And so this is one of the first books from Takashi Amano. And in this book there's a small page about sparkling water. Yeah, over here, page 55. So this book's already very old. But this is a story about Mr. Amano's first experiences trying to grow healthy plants. So this was in 1977. He was just experimenting, trying to grow healthy plants, and he didn't have a lot of success. His plants were just dying. The leaves of the plants were turning yellow. He already knew that CO2 would be beneficial, but he just didn't have any ways of getting CO2 into the water because back then there was no technology, nothing. He was talking to people at the university, but they just couldn't help him. He even writes here that he was trying different methods. And one of those methods was dry ice. Can you imagine dry ice in an aquarium? That's crazy. He wasn't using any fish, of course. He was using dry ice to get CO2 into the water. But he says it wasn't very efficient because the CO2 was evaporating too quickly. So he almost gave up trying to grow healthy plants. But then one day he was having a glass of sparkling water, I think in a bar or something. And on the bottle it said water, CO2 and natrium chloride. I don't even know how to say that in English. So then he got the idea to experiment with that. So he went straight away to buy 5 bottles of sparkling water. When he got home he dropped all of them in his aquarium. His aquarium was 240 centimeters by 60 centimeters. So it's quite a big aquarium, and he dropped 5 whole bottles of sparkling water in that aquarium. And then after a few minutes he already saw that the plants were growing micro bubbles on their leaves. So he thought, yeah, this is working, you know. So that's where the story ends. He said after a while his entire room was filled with empty bottles. Yeah, that's kind of where the story ends. So I think we have to do a little bit more research here. So I was just doing a little bit more research and I found a really interesting journal on the UK Aquatic Plant Society. It's an English forum. I'll leave the link in the description. But this guy was actually using sparkling water in his aquariums. And he had a 30 centimeter cube, so it's a little bit bigger than the aquarium that I'm planning to use it on. But he was using 6 milliliters per day. 6 milliliters every day just before the lights went on. And he had some really good results with it actually. So yeah, let's try it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and give this a try. I got my sparkling water. I got my measuring cup. So let's start with, I think, 5 milliliters. I mean, he said it was using 6 milliliters on a 30 centimeter cube. This one is only 20 liters roughly, so let's start with 5 milliliters. Now, one thing I was also reading is that You know, sparkling water does go flat after a few days, so we might have to get another bottle within a few days or something. But if we can get 3 or 4 days with one bottle, I mean that's quite cheap already. So okay, here we go. Here we have our 5 milliliters of sparkling water. Seems very little. Not sure if this is gonna make any difference. But let's start with 5, and then we can always increase the amount. Let's just see if this makes any change to our CO2 drop checker. So I have a CO2 drop checker over here, a regular one, and a hang-on drop checker on this side. So let's see if this little bit of sparkling water is gonna change anything in this side in this aquarium. Pouring it in the flow so everything gets distributed properly. Okay, so the sparkling water is now in. I think I'm just gonna sit in front of the aquarium for a little bit, see if I notice any changes. See if I notice some pearling on the plants, and yeah, I'll come back to you guys. So it's been about 1 hour now, and I don't know, nothing really big has changed. I do see some tiny bubbles on the Rotala on the back there. Can you guys see that? I see tiny bubbles there on the Rotala orange juice, but that's it really. No changes to the drop checker. Now since we have a whole lot of sparkling water to use, I mean this is gonna go flat before we can use all of it in this aquarium. I thought let's do a little experiment. So I filled up this entire glass with sparkling water, put it in the drop checker, and it literally turned yellow within 30 minutes. So it definitely works. We just have to see how we can apply this into the aquarium without damaging the plants and the shrimp that are in here. I'll just do a little bit more testing. I'm going to do a little bit more research as well. I'm really confident that this should work. We just need to find the right approach to it. So I'm going to check back with you guys tomorrow. Okay, so it's now the next day. Yesterday we added 5 milliliters of sparkling water to this aquarium. I didn't really see any changes. Also no changes to the drop checker. So today I went in with 10 milliliters, so double the dose. But after 2 hours I'm still not really seeing anything. I don't really see any pearling going on. I don't really see any change to the drop checker, so I'm not really sure what to do right now. A bit scared to add in even more, but maybe we have to do a bit more research. Funny thing is that this has been standing here for 24 hours and the drop checker is still yellow, so I'm not sure what's going on there. So yeah, I'm just gonna do a bit more research and then I'll come back to you guys. Okay guys, we are definitely getting somewhere right now. Yesterday I did a little bit more research and I found a topic from a person who was using sparkling water. And he was dosing 100 milliliters per 100 liters of water. So that's what I tried yesterday. I poured in 20 milliliters into this aquarium. Still didn't really see any changes. So today I thought, you know what, let's just go all in. I went in with 40 milliliters. I added 40 milliliters of sparkling water to the aquarium, and right now we're getting somewhere. So I think it was 2 or 3 hours ago that I poured in 40 milliliters of sparkling water into this aquarium. And maybe you already saw it, but look at the drop checker, guys. It's definitely not blue anymore. It's starting to become a little bit like dark green almost. I take a picture of this aquarium every night at 8 o'clock just to get a bit of a time lapse. So I'll overlay the picture from last night where you can see the color of the drop checker and compare it to today. And there's definitely a difference. So 40 milliliters is starting to show up on the drop checker. Also today we did groceries and I bought a fresh bottle of sparkling water. I think the other one was starting to become a little bit flat already, so we have a fresh bottle again. So I think starting from tomorrow we are going again with 40 milliliters, maybe even a little bit more again, because so far I haven't seen any bad signs on the inhabitants. There's some amano shrimp and some cherry shrimp in here, and they haven't seemed to be bothered by the sparkling water whatsoever. Same goes for the snails, by the way. So maybe we will even increase it to 50 milliliters. Maybe that's still safe to add it this much. So this is super exciting. We're gonna keep the experiment going. I'll also keep a close eye on the shrimp and the snails in this aquarium just to make sure they're all healthy and not bothered by the sparkling water. I'm also gonna increase the amount of water change that I'm doing in here, because this soda water still contains some minerals and some salt, and we don't want the salt levels to rise too much. So I think I'll do a water change every 2 days or so, just to make sure everything is safe. But yeah, super excited about this. Okay, I think it's time we wrap up this sparkling water experiment. I've been using it for 8 days straight now, and I think by now I've gathered enough data, I did enough testing to kind of give an opinion about this. So like I said, 8 days straight, and the maximum I went up to is, I think, 4 or 5 full caps. I would usually start the beginning of the photo period with 3 full caps, that's 60 milliliters of sparkling water. And then like halfway through the photo period, after 4 hours or so, I would add in maybe 1 or 2 more. I think that was the maximum I kind of felt safe to add to the aquarium, and not to harm any of the creatures inside. So does this method work? Does adding sparkling water to the aquarium have any benefits for plant growth? And in all honesty, yeah, I think it does. I think there is a benefit. I mean, if I look at the past 8 days, I've definitely seen an improvement in plant growth, especially with the moss. Actually, the moss has transformed quite a bit. It's not much, but it's definitely noticeable. And yeah, we've seen that color change in the drop checker as well, so that is also like a confirmation that there is some CO2 available in the water. So those were, for me, the 2 signs that, yeah, I mean, this method works in some way. Now, even though this method does work and we got some results with it, I would say, please don't try this at home. It's just not something you want to be adding to your aquarium every day. There's just too many problems with this method. First of all, you have to add it manually. So you have to be home every day to pour in a little bit of sparkling water into your aquarium. And I know I'm not home every day when the lights go on. The second problem is that we're adding a lot of CO2 all at once. And that's not really a good thing either. We want to have CO2 within the entire photo period, so during the entire day. So just adding once CO2, that's not really a good way to go about this as well. Another problem is that besides CO2, we're also adding in salts and minerals. And yeah, we don't want that to build up in the aquarium, so we need to do more water changes to get rid of that as well. And I don't know, I didn't try it in an aquarium with fish, and I have no idea what kind of effects this sparkling water and these minerals and this salt has on fish. So again, that's not something I would recommend doing. And I think the biggest issue here is that as soon as you open this bottle, it starts losing its effectiveness. Like after 2 or 3 days, there's already a lot less CO2 available in this water. So you need to start adding more and more every day. I've been doing this for 8 days, and I've used 3 sparkling water bottles. So it's definitely not very economical as well. So this was a fun experiment. Definitely got a lot better results than with the CO2 tablets. But yeah, it's just not something I would recommend trying or even doing. Now what I would recommend is for you to invest in a real proper CO2 system. A good quality system is going to last you a lifetime. So I'll leave some links to my personal favorites in the description box below. Definitely check them out. And if you're on a budget and CO2 just does not really fit your budget, I suggest you check out this video right here about my super cheap DIY CO2 system. I've been using these ones for many years with great results, and I think it's the best cheap CO2 solution. So definitely check out that video. Now to prove to you that this system is better than everything we've tried so far, I'm going to hook up one of my DIY systems to the aquarium that we've been experimenting with, just to kind of show you what kind of amazing results you can get with this super simple system. So definitely stay tuned for that video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash that like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.